This, like my previous talks about HTML, is a literal introduction to CSS. It's going to talk to you about how the coding is, where it's placed, and basically how it acts in accordance to HTML to work as a styling system. CSS actually stands for styling sheets, cascading styling sheets. I'll explain this a little bit more in the next video when we actually do some. And as I said, this is literally just an introduction. There are three types of styling sheets available. I'm going to explain each one of them, but first a quick list. The first one is inline, then we get into more complex internal, and then finally external. Now inline is something we relate to when we talk about the actual HTML coding structure. Here's an example. For instance, in your HTML code, in your body section, you may have a p tag, which is a paragraph tag, and you want to style the actual text inside it to be Arial Helvetica. This is basically the way you do it. You type in the term style equals and then whatever attribute you want to give it, and from that point on, anything within that paragraph tag will be styled. It fits into your page like this. This will be your head section, your body section will be here, and you then put in your styling attribute somewhere within your body tag related to a HTML tag. That's inline. It's called inline because it fits in line of the actual HTML code. Internal, this is a little bit more advanced. This is where you actually have two classifications. This, again, like your p tag, fits inside your HTML, and then secondly, the actual styling attribute fits inside your header section at the top of the page. This is how you write the syntax. You'll notice, and I won't talk about this video, but I'll just mention it, that where it says change this, there's a period point in front of it. This is to denote a class tag, and you'll notice in the P section at the bottom it actually says class equals. These are the two terms that you have to write to relate to the styling attribute above and the inline section below. What happens is you then have the syntax inside curly brackets, which is the same as what we did before, which is whatever style definition you would like to apply to your text, and therefore it changes it based on the fact that the class tag is related to the p tag below. It will look like on your page a little bit like this: your head section and your body section, and then your style attribute goes there in your head section, invisible, and then your actual attribute and your style goes into the lower part there. Okay, we'll talk about this in more detail when we actually come to write it. Right, the next one is external style sheet. This is where you have some coding exactly the same as you would have in the internal, but the difference being that the actual attributes and style terminology, which is the upper part, is situated in an external document. It's actually a different file, and therefore it's called linking. This would look like this on your site. You would have your head, your body. Inside your head section you would actually have a link reference, which is the href to the CSS file. You would then have your styling in your body, and then a second document, which is the actual style sheet associated to it, link to it. Again, like I said, there's lots of different pros and cons to using all the different types of styling sheets. I tend to generally use the external one. I find it a little bit more adaptable. But basically, these are your three different versions of your styling sheet. The basic tagging structure for the final two, the internal and external, is basically so. You have your tag, which can either be a class and identity tag, or a link to a known piece of HTML. And then you have inside your curly brackets the descriptor, which could be a term relating to what kind of style you want. For instance, border, your width or your height, that's your descriptor. And then you give your attribute, which is the actual value you want to give it. Basically something like border could be 1 pixel wide or something, or you could have color blue for your font. These are attributes. And I'll show you these later when we actually start talking about the actual way you write it all and what the definitions are. Okay, but that's how you structure an example. This will relate to the body is a HTML term, as you know from the previous videos. Inside your brackets it says the background color, you want it to be white. So if you write all that, put it inside your external file sheet or inside your head section, it will make the web page background color white. You can call it to whatever you want. You don't have to use actual names of colors. You can use hexadecimal, but we'll talk about this, as I said, when we go into the discussion of actually styling things. So that's basically the coding. Hopefully next week we'll then show you how to do the coding structure and build some styles up so you can understand how it all works in the 3 different versions of the coding. Okay.